It is election day here in Virginia, and voters have been hitting the polls all day to elect a new governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. Now, earlier today, I spoke with a few volunteers at some of the polling sites here in Charlottesville. They tell me that they've seen a steady stream of voters. It is a somber day on grounds here today, with each corner of the community feeling the pain of this anniversary. Students and coaches tell me it's about leaning on each other and protecting the legacy of the ones they lost. You can actually see this car right behind me. That's where the driver crashed, and then he attempted to flee on foot. Albemarle police then tell me they chased after him and were able to detain him. Even in a sea of blue and orange, we've seen a pretty big turnout of Florida State fans who are gearing up for that kickoff. As you can imagine, they don't think of that 1995 game quite as fondly as we do here, but they did tell me they're excited to be back in Charlottesville. We've just received a statement from Ryan confirming his resignation from the University of Virginia. He says he's inclined to fight for what he believes in, but believe that going up against the federal government unilaterally could put faculty at risk of losing their jobs and students at risk of losing their visas. A second typhoon in just 1 week brought more flooding, power outages, and death to the Philippines. We've seen these results rolling in, and Fleischer and Wade are the clear leaders of this race. VDOT tells me this process will take some time and mean a couple disruptions for some of our drivers here in Crozet. Now, instead of taking this turn from Route 250 behind me onto Browns Gap Turnpike, you'll now have to drive straight down Route 240 and finally turn here onto Old Three-Notched Road. In an unexpected move, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia says she is resigning from Congress in January. The message is simple but crucial. When you're in the driver's seat, make sure you put the phone down and buckle up. Democratic nominee Abigail Spanberger is expected any minute now here on the downtown mall for a campaign visit just 1 week before Election Day. Judge Cheryl Higgins has sentenced Christopher Darnell Jones to 5 life sentences, one for each of the victims affected. When we're talking about California, when we're talking about New York especially, and of course New Jersey's been a little bit closer, and when we're talking about Virginia, we're talking about places that have leaned pretty blue in those presidential elections. Aaron, the House of Delegates has gotten a step closer to passing a constitutional amendment that could allow Virginia to redistrict next year. Republicans warn that it will do more harm than good. Democrats call it a necessary precaution.
In many respects, we're in uncharted territory.
Territory and congressional maps are now at the forefront of Virginia's General Assembly as it moves forward with a redistricting effort. State Senator Cree Deeds is defending the initiative, saying it's a response to the Trump administration's push for redrawing lines in Texas and other states.
We didn't start this battle. We have to find some way to balance that work, and that means that we in Virginia have to be willing to do our part.
Delegate Katrina Carlson agrees.
We are not drawing maps right now. We are not redistricting right now. We are making it so that is an option if we need it next year.
In order to change Virginia's congressional districts, the General Assembly has to pass a constitutional amendment twice, with an election in between. Democrats in Richmond have just days to take that first step.
There's a massive concern with how quickly this is being jammed through.
Luther Cyphers is a state senator and Republican. He has issues with what he calls a lack of transparency and the timing of the push well inside the early voting window.
It's important to me that the voters are part of this discussion. And so far, it's just the whole narrative is a partisan power struggle. The voters are kind of an afterthought. You know, this idea that the ends justify the means, it's a race to the bottom.
If the amendment passes twice, it will go to a statewide referendum. Coulson says that gives voters more of a say.
A logical step is to make sure that our state is prepared and that Virginians can weigh in on the congressional districts at a time when they are being rapidly redrawn across the country.
Larry Sabato says it's a political balancing act.
What they're doing could succeed, but everything has to go just right.
Deeds says they'll only vote to redraw Virginia lines in January if other states are still doing it too.
And let the challenges come.
One of those challenges is already brewing. Attorney General Jason Miyares has issued an opinion today calling this a, quote, last-ditch effort and unconstitutional because the early voting is already underway. 74 new Americans from dozens of different countries walked out of Monticello to begin a new chapter. They tell me it's a chapter of hope, of possibility, and of opportunity.
Welcome to Monticello and happy Independence Day.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
I just bless God for this day.
Olive Nalame Makia was born in Cameroon and came to the United States to continue pursuing her education.
I just wish that my dad was alive to see this day, because who could have told him that this little girl growing up in a very poor home will become a citizen of the greatest nation in the world.
She was joined by 73 others in taking the oath of citizenship.
Everywhere, people were so welcoming. I'm so proud to be American now.
One by one, the names of the new citizens declared to the crowd, with some taking to the stage to express what the moment meant to them.
And the value of the country.
Great country.
I just wanted to say how grateful I am.
And you could hear that in the voices. They understood what they were getting for all the divisions, for all the turmoil, and it reminds us of what we have.
Ken Burns, the documentary filmmaker, delivered the keynote address. Though it comes at a time of deep political turmoil and significant tensions surrounding immigration, Burns says the ceremony represents something much bigger than that.
This is so much more powerful. The things that engage us in our lives, our relationships, our work, the stories that we tell each other are complex and have contradictions inherent in them. So I think we can put the superficiality of the politics of the moment away and understand the deeply symbolic meaning and import of new citizens.
Jane Kaminsky, president of Monticello, says the day is a reminder of what we may sometimes take for granted.
It reminds me of my privilege to be an American. It's like all of us taking the oath together again.
For many, it was a moment bursting with emotion.
I kept crying out of gratitude to God, and also thinking about my dad, that I wish he was alive to see this day. He's been dead for more than 20 years, but his work kept carrying me on.
Nuechterlein, 29 News.